Hi there, Galel Fajardo, high performance business coach, here with you today on showing you how to make this device right here, your smartphone, how to make it work for you and not against you so you can reclaim your focus, your time, and your mental clarity. Now, question for you right off the bat. Okay, how many times does the average person touch their phone per day? The average person, 2,617 times. I don't know if that was as many times as you thought it was, but it sure beat the hell out of me, the guess that I had. That's a lot of times that people are touching their smartphones. And the top 10% of users, of which I fall under that trap, being that my business is run on this thing, over 5,400 times per day. Now, something I need to tell you right up front is that your phone is designed to become as addictive as humanly possible. But I'm not saying this so that you feel guilty, okay? I don't want you to feel bad about this because this has been designed by neuroscientists, the same people that helped design casinos with the lights and the sounds and the extra oxygen pumped in and where no clocks are visible and you couldn't see the windows necessarily from some of those high prime gaming areas. It's designed by the same people with that same psychology in mind, because the more that you use this device, the more that people are going to make money, the more that people are going to get paid, because advertisers depend on you and your eyeballs on this device. So really intelligent people have done this in getting this device as addictive as humanly possible. So we're going to help you figure this out. All right. Now, the first key to solve any problem, it's awareness. Okay. So I'm going to share a case study. Myself, way too much screen time. Okay. The cost here was massive. Lost productivity and lost income. Your phone needs to be a tool and not your master. And I'm going to help you do that over the next few minutes. So here's the 4-step phone reset system. Number 1, okay, step 1 is audit your attention. Wherever your attention goes, right, your focus grows. We got to make sure we audit what your attention is being spent on. So I'm going to show you how we do that in a second. Step number 2 is clean house. It feels really good when you do this, all right? Step number 3 is we create a focus-first environment. And step number 4 is we use the right tools. So first off, to audit your attention. If you have an iPhone, you're going to be using the screen time portion of your settings. If you have an Android-based device, it's going to be digital well-being. I have to say, in full disclosure, I'm an iPhone guy, used to be an Android guy, now everything Apple. And so my bias is going to be towards Apple and using some of those terms, but Android has a great, very, very great setup. So you can do these same things on both Apple or Android. Doesn't matter what kind of phone you're using. We can find these settings. You're going to list the most used apps, how many pickups you've used, and how many notifications you've gotten. And you're going to ask yourself the following question. Do these apps serve my goals, or do they steal my focus? Okay. You got to be ruthless and brutally honest with yourself when you're making this assessment. Next is you're going to clean house. So what that means is deleting or relocating time-wasting apps. Do not put the most addicting or time-wasting apps right up front where it's easy to find. Okay? You want to increase friction, right? One of the terms that my clients that I work with one-on-one, they hear me say all the time is we're either trying to reduce friction or increase friction. If there's an action we're trying to get you to take, we're trying to reduce friction to make it easier. If there's an action that we don't want you to do, we need to increase friction. Right? So for the person who, let's say they have little kids and, they've got ice cream sandwiches in the freezer. One of the ways we increase friction is we take them out of the freezer in your kitchen and we put them in the freezer in your garage. Maybe if you're like one of us who has 2 refrigerators, right? You're now increasing friction because as you go walk to the garage, you're thinking to yourself, do I need to go grab that ice cream sandwich or not, right? So we want to make sure we're increasing friction there. You want to turn off non-essential notifications. That was one of the keys for me, is completely turning off notifications. So now only the essential ones show up. Remove all red badges, right? Anything that's going to be alerting you, interrupting you want to get rid of that. And what I would do is create a distractions folder. So that way, anything that's a potential distraction sits inside of its own separate folder, like 5 scrolls deep to make it that much harder to find. Then your focus first setup is where you're going to have a one screen minimalist layout. And I'm going to give you an example of what that looks like. And instead of having just a bunch of apps everywhere, you're going to organize with purpose-driven folders. So you're going to be able to, as soon as you open up your phone, go to the folders that help you accomplish your mission. Whatever's most important, those are going to be front and center. We want to help you get to the point where you are enabling do not disturb and focus modes regularly. So one of the things for friends of mine who have my cell phone, they see when they go to text me, it says that my notifications are turned off because my phone is on do not disturb basically the entire day. And then another one that's really, really brutal, and I got this one from Alex Hormozy, one of his Instagram reels, is using grayscale mode. So basically taking off all color from your phone, it makes it that much less attractive to look at. And so there are people I know that during the day, if they want to focus, their phone is on grayscale mode and they don't turn the color back on until after the end of the day. That's kind of next level stuff that works very well. We want you to use the right tools. So apps to use are going to be your calendar, your notes, task managers, and voice memos. You want to eliminate decision fatigue by using defaults. So making sure that your default app is set for those and not others that may be, distracting. So for example, one of the things that I have a client who was getting really distracted by Facebook, and he was talking with his employees on Facebook Messenger. I said, listen, let's try voice memos, or let's try using WhatsApp to send messages to your team so that way you're not sucked in on Facebook and Facebook Messenger where you could get non-work messages. I want you to eliminate that decision fatigue by setting up those appropriate defaults. Next is implementation tips. So what I want you to do is I want you to set phone hours kind of like you do with office hours. Like if you're a professor in college, you've got this day to this time, regular office hours. This tells your clients or your team how and when they can reach you. And the goal here is to allow you to use technology to protect, not pollute your attention, right? Having a set period of time for this. Now, we want to talk about setting up your phone for success. So this is my phone home screen. And what I want you to pay attention to is in the top left-hand corner, it is showing you my screen time. So my screen time is front and center, okay? I'm going to zoom in on it right here. It shows you the screen time. This is important because this awareness helps keep you in check, because if you're using a lot of screen time, that's a big deal, right? So you want to make sure you have that front and center. Optimal phone settings. Again, this is for an iPhone, right? You want to make sure all push notifications are turned off. Your phone is set to do not disturb all day. Set up your favorites so that only messages and notifications from those favorites will come through. So for example, one of the common objections I get is, Galel, if I put my phone on do not disturb, my kids can't get a hold of me. Yes, they can. Set them as your favorites, pin them on your phone, and it will allow your favorites to message you if you have it up in your settings. So that is one way that you can help mitigate that. I know all the busy parents out there wanting to make sure that their kids, if they need them in case of emergency, they can get a hold of them, and this will help you be able to do that. Bonus, no desktop notifications from anything except for your calendar. So for example, turning off your email notifications, turning off your Slack notifications, any other messenger notifications, we want to make sure are completely turned off. And so I've got the arrow pointed here as far as a screenshot as to where you can go on an iPhone to adjust your notifications. You also want to leverage app limits, because app limits will then tell you when you're spending too much time on a certain app if you've put in a limit. So want you to create these proper boundaries, right? So you set up the app time limits, set up your non-negotiable time for creation or deep work, and then brick your phone before bed. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a second. And then also another one, I just love an old school timer. So I keep a timer here on my desk right here. And when I need to do a task, I will set the timer, I'll hit it, and it just keeps me locked in. So that's what happens when you've got these proper boundaries, right? And I would just encourage you, figure out what's distracting you, what's causing your attention to shift away from what you need to do, and then put limits in place. So for me, it was Instagram. So I set a limit for myself. So when I hit that time limit, it would alert me that, hey, dude, it's time for you to get off of Instagram. You've already spent 30 minutes today on there. And so that those types of notifications will be able to help you be able to better manage your time, making sure that you are staying on task and on track. All right. So let's talk about the brick. So this is what the brick looks like on my phone. It's an app that you download, and it's actually a physical device. So it's a physical device and an actual app that you download. When I want to kill my phone and only turn it into just a phone, I will use the brick, and I can just tap it and it bricks it so that I can't use any other apps that are deemed as a distraction. And what's nice is you can go in and customize these settings and figure out what type of apps do you want to give yourself, which ones do you not want to give yourself. What I will do is I will just disable pretty much everything on my phone. Just the phone and text messaging is what I'd be allowed to use until I get what I need done, and then I go and take my phone and scan it on the actual brick device in my kitchen. So right here's a shot in my kitchen of my refrigerator. That item that's circled there is my brick device. And so when I am finished with my work and my magic time, I will walk over, scan my phone against the brick, and then my phone is allowed basically to be back up and running. All right. By the way, anybody who's looking at this going, oh, but what happens if I rush out of the house and I'm unable to unbrick the phone? It has a bypass where it will give you an emergency unbrick if you need to, but those are limited to a certain amount. So it's really a device to help keep you productive. And it's something that I love because as I'm walking from my office to my kitchen, I'm thinking to myself, do I really need to unbrick my phone at this time? And if I do, then I scan it. If not, I take that walk from down the hall from my office to the kitchen, gives me enough time to think about what it is that I am actually doing. All right. So I really encourage you to check out that device. There'll be more information on a link that I send you here shortly. So I'm creating friction, right? The unbricking requires me to get up and walk to the kitchen. It gives me time to think, is it necessary? And it gives me a checkpoint where I ask myself, did I create? If I did create, right, if I wrote the emails I needed to, I worked on the product I needed to, did I create the training for my school community, whatever it was that I worked on, that is my check and balance system, right? And so if I created, then I get to go unbrick my phone and then I can use it. So what I've created for all of you is a 7-day phone reset challenge. Just go to galel.com/phone. I've got resources on there, and I have a 7-day phone reset challenge so that you can start using your phone as the tool that it was meant to be and not a distraction device. If there's other support that I can provide for you, take a look down in the comments below. There's a link to my private community, my group coaching program, where I do weekly calls where I will teach on a topic related to marketing, mindset, entrepreneurship, productivity, and many others. And you also get access to all of the courses and programs I've created. There's a 7-day free trial. If you're interested in checking it out, go take a look. If you have any questions, go send me an email, g@galel.com. Or you can just get on my email list. If you want to learn more about the work that I do with my clients, go to galel.com. That's GALEL.com. Hope this was helpful. If it was, leave a comment below. Subscribe so that you get future videos that are coming out. And I look forward to seeing you back here soon. Thanks so much for watching.